Yeah, I think we have everyone.
Yeah. So I just shared my screen. The recording is also on. So we were trying to just configure the reverse proxy. We just discussed about the need for the reverse proxy. So what do you mean by reverse proxy? So pretty simple. We just need to add only 2 lines. So because it is on the same server, what I'll use localhost proxy pass / examples. That is the application name which we are trying to configure. And then where is the Tomcat server? It is there on the same machine. 8088 on which it is listening. Examples. So whenever if someone comes to this web server and put a suffix / examples, we are asking that, hey, please send the request to this backend URL. Once the process is done, it has to be reversed. Reversed in the sense it has to come back to the origin from where it is generated the request, right? So proxy pass. So let me just give you the details also once it is tested working fine, so that you can also try and do any changes to the dynamic configuration has to be followed by a restart. So now what is my public IP? Because I don't have any DNS, that's the reason I'm always using public IP here. So this is my public IP, which will hit now what? It will hit web server. So come back to your request. So it is hitting your web server now, this one. So this is your web server. So from here, I configure reverse proxy. I don't need to hit app server by port number and everything. So I'll say put / examples here. So we want to see whether it is now working or not. Examples. So yes, it is now routing. So here I'm not suffixing any port number. See. So from here it is going from here to the app server. So in case if I want to know from the logs point of view whether actually everything is captured or not. So where are the logs here in the web server? Under etc HTTPD folder, you have logs folder here. So go to the logs folder. So there are two mostly in the web server. You're seeing 2 types of logs. One is access logs, one is error logs. So by name, we know what you mean by access and error logs. So I'm trying to take access log. So just want to see whether if I hit any request is coming or not. Yeah, you could see one entry is captured. So what is the, how do you read this log? This is your address, IP, and then this is your date and time. And HTTP, we have get and put, right? So get / example is the request it is. Now 304 means like redirecting. So it is redirecting to the application server. So success. So this is error code 200 means it is supplied. Again, 3 direction related, etc. I'll show you one more thing. So instead of example, which we'll try to hit one more application where we actually never configured the reverse proxy. So what was the application? It was there in that app sample. So when we hit, it's saying that sorry, the resource is not found. Come back to the logs. So we got one more entry. So the error code is 404 means it is not there, not found. 404 web server related. So now interesting. So in case if it is there, it is serving. If it is not there, it's saying not found. Now what we will do, I'll stop this web server. Service SVPD stop. So the main web server itself is stopped. Come back to picture. So this server, this one, this is stopped. Now we will see what kind of error we may now face here. It stopped completely. The cache issue. Yeah, we could see this site cannot be reached. So this is a different story. So by looking at the error report, we should be figuring out like where is the issue. Even if I try to access the examples / example, it will still say that site is not reachable. So that means our web layer is down. Yeah. Now we will do one more thing. I'll start the web service and then I'll stop the application service. First, let me start the web service. So I just want to confirm whether everything fine or not. Go back to your browser settings. Browser checking page. 8 examples. Yeah, it is working fine. This time we will stop application service. Service stop can stop. So go back to your model design. So this time it is not web server. This is up and running, but this is stop. So check it out. What kind of error message we may face. Service unavailable. You might have seen this multiple times in your real time. Yeah. So which means your web server is fine, but your backend app server is down. So different errors, right? We have seen one is site not reached, one is service unavailable, one is a resource not found. When do we see resource not found? When we don't have any resource properly configured in your web layer. The sample was not configured. No, it was only examples reverse proxy was configured. So that is the reason when you hit sample, it say sorry, the resource is not there. So all these things can be captured in the logs. So let me just, by the way, give you these things. Anyway, I'm not going to introduce any more topics now. So we will clarify all your doubts and also I'll supply all this to you. So this is the settings. Let me just come out of that proxy line. So I went to this folder and then I just created only one file called proxy. This is the entry. Chat. Yeah, so this is the thing. After that, anyway, we have restarted and everything. Let me put that all the commands also here. So, refer all these commands just in case while practicing if you forgot any command. You can refer this as well. Put it in your rough notes and look this commands and do this stuff. So I'll give you one exercise to you. Then I will take questions. What is that exercise? Is you need to put a diagram. We actually deployed everything in one single server. No? Tomorrow on your Amazon, you need to spin up 2 machines. Okay, one is web machine, the other one is app machine. 2 separate machines you have to install. configure. Here, please install web server. And here, please install your app server sample application. And then configure the reverse proxy. That's very simple and extremely simple exercise. I just want to see whether you can do that or not. So I don't want to hit app server. I'll only will hit this particular web server. So reverse proxy and everything I've given you. Based on that thing, try to configure this particular extremely simple two-layer servers. So yeah, that's all from my end today. Any questions from today's topic?
Hello, Raghu.
Yeah, Rakesh.
So under security groups, like we have enabled both 8080 and 80 ports to public, is it?
Yeah, in our case, I have opened all the ports, correct.
Oh, okay. That's so you are able to hit both the ports. Okay.
Yeah, I think in the security group you need to make that addition to access those separate ports.
Yes, Mahesh. Yeah, thank you.
Tomorrow when you try to work on the exercise also, so two servers, probably you need to make sure that the security group is addressed. Otherwise, reverse proxy will not work.
Yeah, so when we set this reverse proxy, only 80 port is sufficient, right? We don't have to enable 8080.
Correct, yes.
All right.
Also, if possible, try to deploy the app server in a different VPC, if possible. I know VPC anyway, it's a AWS concept. So wherein you should not have a public IP to that server.
Okay, it should just have private IP, which the primary like. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a mandatory for everyone. Just in case you're interested, you can try that option.
Okay, thank you.
And Raghu, can't we deploy the application without a web server with just use of app server?
So, for example, if you look at Tomcat, right? So we were able to access using port 8080. Yes. So we don't really need a web server there, right? But the objective of app server is to supply the dynamic applications. So we cannot, use Tomcat as a web server because if you look at that http.conf, wherein we have so many options. Tomorrow, if you want to set up HTTPS SSL layer, and then you want to integrate with your SSO system, and you want to set up a load balancer, all that stuff cannot be configured at an app layer. So that is the reason in the all the architects generally they use the web server as a front layer.
Okay.
So which you also will be having a facility that you can have multiple app servers. So now through your web server you can route to multiple app servers, because you can go on microservice based architecture, wherein one module can be deployed on one app server, another module can be deployed on another app server. So you can set up a reverse proxy, and then people who log into your application can access all those modules logging into apps, single web server. So for all these kind of needs, you need a web layer.
Okay.
Yeah, very good questions. So keep flowing. Okay. So yeah, I think so. Suppose like tomorrow when you set up this in Azure, you want to set up in your on-prem environment. It's all same. It's only that at AWS is a kind of a media or a platform where we are working on this thing. So otherwise, like everything on-prem, cloud, or a physical machine, it is all same. So yeah. So also, if possible, what you can do, you try to configure the Tomcat application servers and 2 different servers, like sample in one server and examples in another server. See if you can set up a reverse proxy also. That possible.
Okay, sure, Raghu.
Right. I think there are no more questions. So probably, yeah. So we are good to go now. So then tomorrow, anyway, if there is any change in the meeting link and all these things, so we'll communicate to you. But yeah, Zoom, I will just keep it as a backup purpose. But I will have a word with the people, and then we'll come back to you if there is any change in the meeting link.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks everyone. So good evening. We'll catch up tomorrow then.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raghu.
Bye bye.